name is Kweku Darfoor of the Darfoor Law Firm. I practice law in South Florida, located here in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm going to be discussing the biggest mistakes that people make after being involved in an accident. You're going to want to stay to the end because I'm also going to be talking about the number one thing that I see that people don't think about and sometimes always do it because it's part of our everyday life, and it could be leading you to a very bad resolution or just be bad for your case, right? So the number one mistake I see people make is admitting fault. And you may be sitting there and saying, what? Like, if it's not my fault, I would never say it's my fault, But oftentimes when the accident happens and, you're in shock and you're speaking to your officer, you may not realize that some of the things that you say to the officer may have them in their mind conclude that somehow you were at fault, even if it's not full fault, but partial fault. Like, oh, I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know where that car came from. Or I just look away for 1 second. You don't want to admit fault because now you're fighting an uphill battle, right? When you go to negotiate your settlement or present a demand, when I present a demand or an attorney presents a demand to the insurance company, they're going to come up with this argument. Even though the police report itself is not admissible, they're going to use that against you, right? So you never want to admit fault to the accident, right? The second biggest mistake I see people make is that they want to speak, or they end up speaking to the at-fault party's insurance adjuster, right? You don't want to speak to the at-fault party's insurance adjuster because they're not your friend. They are there to protect their insured, but also protect their company. They don't want to pay out money. Oftentimes, they will make you an offer right away, which is a very low ball offer. They'll tell you, hey, you can get this much money, $5,000 or whatever, and right now we'll send it to you overnight. And you think, hey, I don't feel too bad. I'll take this $5,000 because I don't feel too bad. And you end up going to the doctor down the line, and they tell you that your injury is much worse than what you felt, or it ends up getting much worse, right? Also, you don't want to speak to them because they're likely going to ask you and get you on a recorded phone call, right? And the things that you say during that recorded phone call can be used down the line, and they will use it down the line against you, right? So why give them ammo or ammunition to basically deny or drastically reduce what you are rightfully owed in your damages? Don't do that, right? It's not worth it. It's better to wait, consult with someone, consult with an attorney, but don't speak with the adjuster before you kind of get your bearings and know which way you're going, okay? The third biggest mistake I see folks make is that they think they can represent themselves after an accident. Now, you're probably thinking, oh man, it's another attorney telling me, hey, you can't do this. But there are certain instances where, perhaps you can represent yourself. If it's something like a little minor fender bender and you really aren't injured and you just want to get your car fixed, or, your bill, you just saw one doctor just to check yourself out, but you don't need treatment, you can represent yourself. But the vast majority of folks that represent themselves find themselves, and I get these calls, 8 months, 6 months down the line. Hey, I was involved in the accident. When was the accident? Oh, it was 8 months ago. Why are you just calling an attorney? Oh, I thought I could handle it myself and so forth. I didn't want to get an attorney involved, or I didn't want them to charge me 33%. Well, what happens is that the adjusters have made offers, and they usually get stuck in their mind of what their offer is based on what you've done up to, because you've treated up to that point. So they'll look at your medical bills and they'll look at your injuries and treatment, and they know that you're not represented by an attorney, so they'll just give you a lowball offer, knowing that you can't file a lawsuit against them, right? You can't represent yourself, but also knowing that you have not consulted with an attorney, or you haven't hired an attorney throughout the process. So they're going to make up things that you don't know if that's right by the law or not, right? As far as how much they should get paid for the medical bills, or, what your records actually are, mean to them. So you don't want to, represent yourself. Not, like I said, there's very, other situations, few instances where you can, and I just talked about them. right? But for the most part, you don't want to go into this battle, and it is a battle with an insurance company, because at the end of the day, they get paid based on how much money they save, what they keep for the company, and a lot of these folks treat the money as if it's theirs, right? Now, here's one really big mistake. I think I see this more than I'd like to, and even sometimes because it's so part of our everyday lives that we kind of forget when we're involved in an accident or after an accident to not post on social media. There's no benefit of posting on social media after you've been involved in an accident, because guess what? These insurance companies, the adjusters, are grooming these social media sites, just looking for one thing for them to pull out. It could be you at a party, and they'll use that and say, oh, you went to this party, you couldn't have been feeling that bad after your accident, or you went on a vacation somewhere, right? Or whatever it is, you don't want to post on social media to give them ammo. Don't post how well you're doing, how you're getting so much better. Just don't post on social media after your accident to protect yourself. Now, after your claim has settled, feel free to get back to posting, but just don't do it, okay? So those are the biggest mistakes that I see, and I hope that this helps you out. If you do have any questions, as always, you can feel free to contact me at the office, reach out to me via email, make sure that I respond to you myself. If you like what I shared, go ahead and please hit the subscribe button. Down low below, please hit the subscribe button.